Oh, that's what it looks like. The sea of green. Okay. So, 10 things I learned after a year being laid off. This is to anyone who may need it. This is to me in the future. Keeping it real, but also, giving myself some inspiration and, keeping myself motivated. So, anyways, 10 things I learned after a year being laid off. Number one, it does not get easier. Prepare yourself mentally. You will go through the 5 stages of grief. It's been a year and it still sucks. Yeah, honestly, it does suck. It sucks only because, like, you grow to, like, honestly, I loved my coworkers. I really did. Even now, like, I forget that I used to have, like, coworkers, right? So it was my first job out of college. And, honestly, job market sucks. Everything sucks. You think to yourself, like, I did everything right. I went through college. I found a job. Like, everything seems to be good then. But really, like, nothing is, like, stable. So here's a message to anyone who's watching this and to future Elise, or present Elise now. Do the things that make you happy. Do that thing you've been putting off for some time. Just do it because nothing is honestly stable anymore. But yeah. Two, unemployment will help apply to it. Unemployment takes time to process. It took me over a month. Although you may think you don't need it and will find work right away, trust me, apply to it regardless. Like, I really thought I was going to find work right away. Like, I was going to wait to file for unemployment. And I'm glad I didn't wait, to be honest, because, ooh, like 2 weeks before I finally got my first, like, unemployment paycheck, like, damn. Honestly, I was stressing because, like, my car broke down and, like, your car breaks down and guess what? Now you're out of a job, it gets, just apply to it, even if you don't really get it, even if you get, like, just apply to it. Which leads me to number three. If you have to make a big change, only make one decision. So I say that because I stressed myself out too much exactly a year ago. I was like in between, do I move to Houston? Do I want to go be with my husband? I say husband now. It was boyfriend at the time. Do I want to move in with him? It was like a big question, honestly. So I feel like if you're going to make one big decision, only make one. Do not make a whole bunch of decisions. Like, don't. So I made the decision to move from San Antonio to Houston, and it was the most stressful, like, month and a half of my life. Because it was the notion of, like, okay, let's find an apartment. Let's move out of my apartment. Like, how am I going to move stuff out of my apartment if we don't have an apartment yet? It took a lot. It took a lot. And I can make another video on that. But yeah, it really did take a lot. So not only that, but I also did 1 semester of grad school. So before I got my big girl job, or first real job, right? I was doing my master's at the time, and I quit because it was just too much stressful, like going to work full time and doing a master's program. Like, it genuinely was a lot. So I feel like if you do have to make one big change, I feel like you should only make one. Do not overload yourself, because I did. I was more on the fence of, like, okay, I'm going to move. Okay, now I need to find work. Okay, now I have to go to school. So it took a lot of time to adjust to being here in Houston, as well as, like, finding work and, dealing with the stress of moving. And also, like, it was just so stressful. Just like I said, if you have to make one big decision, make only one big decision. Number four, take that vacation. And what I mean by take that vacation, I mean, like, take a fucking vacation. Like, I remember that day I got laid off, I was like so fucking burnt out. Like you have no idea on my Duolingo. I was literally so burnt out. I remember that day because I was so like relieved, but I was also kind of like, okay, like I don't know what the fuck's gonna happen, you know? But at the same time, like I'm still getting paid at the end of the day that day. So I was just more like, yeah, let me just fucking do it, you know? But yeah, take that vacation. That day I got laid off. Felt severe burnout, you know, although I was one of the lucky ones to get severance pay. Um, yeah, it's just, yeah, take that vacation. Take a little bit of the time, take the rest of the weekend. Either way, just take that day off. You get laid off. Like, just take it off, you know, deal with the madness tomorrow. Give yourself a little break because you deserve it. Number 5, if you have been putting off something for so long, now's the time to do it. So what I mean by that is by like this can be pursuing a new career, this can be going back to school, this can be social media. For me, it was doing social media or YouTube, basically. I had been wanting to do YouTube for some time. So to me, you know, I was following a YouTuber at the time and she got laid off. And I was like, and it's true because it makes you think like, you know, there's no more stability. You know, you do all the right things of like, you know, going to college, finding a job, you know, getting that degree, and then you get laid off. You know, I got laid off when I was 24. I'm 25 right now. I'm going to be 26. Is that a flea? I don't think that's a flea. I hope not. So yeah, like I think it's it's just crazy. Is it a flea? Fuck. I'm like so triggered right now. No, I don't think it's a flea. Okay. Um, back to what I was saying, but yeah, I have been wanting to do YouTube for a long time, and I feel like, you know, the world is unstable now. YouTube, making YouTube content and trying to make money off of it, like it's unstable in general. So I feel like if I have a shot at something, I feel like I should do something I really wanted to do, whether that's like pursuing a new career, which I kind of am. So I can go more in depth about that in the next video. But yeah, that's my advice. Like, if there's something you've really been wanting to do, like, I say fucking do it. Like, honestly. Or even if you've been putting off something for so long, like going back to school, doing some cleaning, or going to your dental appointments, you know, or even seeing family. Like, I remember that first, like, when I got laid off that first weekend, I went home. I went home for a week. I was like, no, I'm just going to deal with the madness later. Like, either way, I'm getting paid next week. So I'm just going to deal with the madness. So I'm just going to take this vacation and take it for what it is. I'm getting paid anyways. I know most people aren't fortunate enough to, you know, have that flexibility. But even if it's a day, go see family, call them, you know. The sixth thing that I learned after a year of being laid off, number 6, things happen for a reason. I know it sounds cliche, but it really isn't your fault. It's not. I know for a good portion of time I felt like maybe it is my fault. Like maybe I did something, you know. It's not. The only thing that confirmed it for me was the unemployment thing. I was kind of like, oh man, like maybe I did get fired. Like, but no, I didn't get fired. I got laid off. So there's a difference. But yeah, it just sucks. But remember, rejection is redirection, and that's something I've been trying to do a little bit more often. So um, the seventh thing I learned after a year of being laid off, use AI to update your resume. So I've been using AI a little bit to update my resume. It's actually helped a little bit, at least to get interviews, you know. And even like responding to like LinkedIn messages because those people, I don't know, it's sometimes it feels like a scam and sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes stuff really does feel like a fucking scam because you go into their website or their company website and then they tell you like this thing of like, oh, should you like how do you feel about this? Apply to this job, but it's just so hard to tell between like what's a scam and what's not. So yeah. Yeah, but I would use AI to update your resume or like even sending like messages or whatever. Like, yeah, it just varies. Number 8, focus on yourself. Figure out your job expectations, your desirable salary, and what you're willing and not willing to put up with. So I say that because I literally had like a call with someone on LinkedIn who was like, hey, I'm looking for this for like a hedge fund in New York. And I really, really thought about it, but I was like, no, I feel like Texas is going to be bigger, with the Texas Stock Exchange. As much as I would love to live in New York, I just felt like I was severely burnt out. I was a corporate slave. I like to call that. I loved to call myself a corporate slave before because I really was. Corporate fatigue is a real deal. It's true. It really is true. So, yeah, after a year of being laid off, I just felt like things need to, you just need to focus on yourself and find what you do like and what you don't like and what you're willing to put up with. I was like, I could have gotten that job, yes, in New York and, not be laid off right now, but I also could have just mm, I let it go, basically. So, yeah. I said, what you're willing and not willing to put up with. Last thing you need is a stressful job that will affect your health. My stressful job affected my health desperately. I was burnt out. I remember I was stressing about finding a job, and I was just honestly kind of relieved. I was really relieved that day. I don't have to do this work anymore. I can take my desirable break that I've been wanting to take. Not that they didn't give us vacation days, right? But my vacation was literally a month away before I got laid off. So, it was kind of oh, but severely I was burnt out. It's true, they always tell you oh, it's because you're young. No, don't listen to them. It's stupid. If you feel burnt out, it's because you're fucking burnt out. Number 9, don't be afraid to speak your truth. Tell the recruiter your job expectations. Again, this goes back to the thing that I was saying, this guy had called me. He was telling me all these things and this is what I'm looking for. And I told him honestly, I'm looking for something else, something different in his career. So, and I was honest with him. I was like, look, I don't want to waste your time, or I don't want to waste my time. I've been ghosted before. Yeah. And I remember he had asked me oh, what's your salary expectations? My salary expectations, well, it depends. It's different in Texas and if you want me to move to New York, it's different, obviously, So, yeah, I was like, no, I don't like to talk about salary expectations in a job interview or even talking on the phone with a recruiter. So honestly, I just feel uncomfortable about that because it's well, tell me more about the work that I would be doing, don't just beat around the bush about it. But yeah, don't be afraid to speak your truth, tell the recruiter job expectations, ask the hard questions. Remember, you're the one in control. Don't let them waste your time. So yeah. Number 10, last thing, don't give up. I haven't, and neither should you. Honestly, I haven't given up. I've been doing Coursera, for a while now. So yeah, getting into the project management side, because I feel like that kind of sounds more like me. But I say that because I tend to be really on top of things. Really on top of things. That's just the person who I am, I guess. So I feel like project management would really help in that scenario. And yeah, hopefully I get something. I think it's a real change of pace compared to where I used to work. But yeah, hopefully this helps. Yeah, but it's getting dark out here, and I hope you were able to see all of that. I think you were. Yeah. I think you were. Hopefully the cicadas weren't too loud. But, sometimes you have to touch the grass like I did today. The grass. Monday Pixel, grass. Things that I brought with me today, taser. You never know. I know self-defense, but yeah, you never know. Earbuds.